Hey, welcome back to Don't Run with Scissors. I am Kelly, your favorite Jeep driving warrior, mom of twins, 4 crazy rescue dogs, and a rescue cat who likes to craft in her spare time. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It sends me a message, it boosts my serotonin and my self-esteem, and I could use that. And if you are a returning friend, you already know the crazy you're in for, so grab your drink, sit on back, and let's have at it. It is Sunday the 19th of April. I don't know where time's going, but it's going fast. Bella's making dinner. And we're also feeding Dolene and ammonium thioglycolate. And if you are new here, Dolene and ammonium thioglycolate are our sourdough starters. Nope. This is Dolene. Dolene is a yeasty little girl. She's crazy, but she makes great bread. And what happened was, then we were putting the discard into a jar as well, and I got nervous and I fed the discard, and so now the discard has taken on a life of its own. And if you are not laughing about the names of my sourdough starters, I don't know what to tell you, because I posted that our discard jar, it's now not a discard jar, it's just a second jar of starter, is named ammonium thioglycolate. If you don't understand that reference, I'm really sorry. You've missed out on one of my favorite movies ever. It comes from the movie Legally Blonde, and it just makes me laugh. So ammonium thioglycolate was our discard. Now he's got his own personality, ammonium. And then tonight I was over at Kevin's and I looked at his starter, which started the whole competition, apparently. For those of you who don't know, I'd like to say I'm not a competitive person, but we all know that's bull. Okay? We all know that's bull. And so Kevin was gifted sourdough starter from a friend of his, well, actually from his cousin, and he would not let me take it, and it kind of made me sad. And so then I got a sourdough starter from a friend of mine. And yeah, that's not going to happen. And I've also sent away for discard or starter from the Oregon Trail. And when that comes in, it will be called dysentery. And again, I like to name things weird things, hence my name. My Jeep's name is Elmo, and whatnot. And I don't know what that is for. So so I went over there. I have affectionately right now. So he got, anyways. His starter was looking sad. So I worked on it, and I think I'm going to name his starter Doby-Wan Kenobi. Doby-Wan Kenobi. Because I am here for a good pun and a good joke. It makes me laugh. I don't know. And right now, with everything going on, we all need to laugh a little bit more. So if that makes, so again, so tonight, Bella and I we're gonna feed Dolene and ammonium thioglycolate. But before that, we're gonna take about a cup out of them, and we're going to make sweet flatbreads, like cinnamon sugar flatbreads. And I am so excited, and I cannot wait to come back at you next week and let you know how they are. Because yes, I have also realized that I went online and I was trying to figure out why my sourdough was really, really hard to cut into and was tough. Unlike regular bread, you can't cut into like a fresh out of the oven loaf of sourdough. You can't do it. It will get super tough and gummy. And that's what I was like, this is weird. It's not gummy on the inside. My weren't gummy on the inside, but they were really tough to cut into, and it was making me really sad. But then I had another loaf. I cooked 2 loaves this last time, and I left the one to sit and like rest and do its thing, and perfection, perfection. And I got new knives for the kitchen for Christmas, and I used my bread knife, and it made the most lovely sandwich bread. It was so good. So I am learning. I am learning. I am here for any recipes you got for more sourdough things. Yeah. Um, you know, it, oh, hold please. Um, okay, so that's where we are on the sourdough. We have been working hard, um, which is great, which is great. Um, we just need some people to pay for their work, because when they do, it's going to be really nice. We still need a miracle for Paul. I did have another talk with the kids. Um, the reality is um, he's not doing well, and um, the medicine that's keeping him alive is slowly killing him also. Yeah, irony. Um, the med's just not designed for long term use, right? And stuff, and so again, I am asking for all of the stuff. Um, we do know that he currently has a blood infection and a yeast infection. We're hoping by treating those that maybe that will help the need for this med to keep his blood pressure up. Um, if we can get him off this med and get him stable, then we're doing good. But right now we just can't get him off this med, and that's the problem. Um, so yeah. Um, I have been working away, obviously. I've been so in my stitching. What's interesting is to watch, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, is that there's stitching patterns kind of ebb and flow. And I went through a period where I was like, oh, stitch on a million different things, right? And now I'm kind of like, I'm not a monogamous stitcher. I will likely never be a fully monogamous stitcher. But what I'm finding is that I have less time, less. So before, when I wasn't like in the office, at Dave's office, um, at least 2 days a week, right, and in court so much, I could grab a project here, work for 10 minutes, and then the next time I had a small break, I could work on a different project. That's not how my stitching time is anymore, or currently. Right now, what I'm finding is I have like a large chunk on Tuesdays and Thursday nights when I stitch with my girls. Um, or like I will set aside a chunk on like Friday night. So it's like every other night. And so while I have probably the same amount of stitching time, it's in larger chunks. So I tend to touch fewer projects, but more stitches in at a time, if that makes sense. So, haul. I have, I bought some DMC. Um, you'll see why in a few minutes. Um, I went through almost an entire skein of the beige color. I forget what number it is. For Pandemic, it is 738. I used an entire skein, so I had to go buy more. Um, so that's fine. I needed a skein to finish up a project. we now officially, for sure, need to print off a second Jeep sheet. So, let's have at it. So, we're playing Stitching Survivor. That's kind of directing which pieces I've gravitated towards. Between that and I'm working with Atlas to have a rotation where we are prioritizing what we finish or what we work on and how we're, like, it's more purposeful. But last week on Survivor, one of the bonus stitches was to work on your newest whip. For me, that is the Betsy Ross sampler by Twin Peaks Primitives. I love this piece. I absolutely love this piece. I am stitching it on a piece of Coffee Club by Bee Stitch Me. I'm stitching it on a 28 count Jobelin, and I got a 1/4 yard of it. So I put in the second flower and some of the flowers, the leaves there, and then I brought this big ginormous motif in down more. So we're working on this pot here and this big old baby here. So will this stay in my active rotation right now? No. But again, I needed the piece. I need to work on it for Stitching Survivor. That's what it is, right? So, my other piece that I worked on for Stitching Survivor this week was Pandemic. I am now at 43%. Hang on. Atlas could probably tell me, but I don't think he can. I don't know. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, yeah, at 40, well, we're at 42.13%. I'm getting close to another page finish, which is very exciting. Nigel, Maisie, or actually it's Maisie. What the heck? Like a demon possessed, girlfriend. Okay. So, we're working there. I have to add the bird in here, and then this is that ginormous motif. Let me see. I'm stitching it on 14 count Aida. I know. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. Don't start none, won't be none. Okay. Okay, anyways, we're over here in this big medallion here. So, I would really love to see, we're definitely going to get a page finished before I see you next time on this. So, in order for me to meet my goal of having all of the 738 stitched by the end of the year, I have to stitch roughly 1,200 stitches a week. Yeah. So, in Pandemic. Okay. So then one of my other big Survivor pieces, and it didn't actually need stitches in it this week. I have to find, but I wanted to keep it going because I would love to have this piece done by Labor Day. And Atlas and I figured out that in order for me to have this done by Labor Day, which is in September here in the States, I need to stitch 1,200 stitches in it a week. So between these two big pieces, that's already 2,400 stitches, roughly, a week. This is Quaker Flag by the Vivsters. I'm stitching it on 18 count Sky by Atomic Ranch in the called for DMC. And I worked, I finished up this motif, but I've been going in and trying to fill in the grid so that we can see where the little blocks are. Just because right now, if I'm on the road and I can't, or like I've had 3 migraines this last week, even with my migraine meds, I can still follow the grid lines and not have to worry about, and so we are at, now this number is skewed because right now it is charted so that I should go in and fill in each of these with the white. I don't think, and we've talked about this before, I don't feel the need to do that. I had started to do that and I was like, nah, I'm not really loving the white stitches. But I haven't marked them off on here. Mostly because I'm like, I'm going to maybe wait till the end and see how I feel and go back. I don't know. So without those white stitches, with those white stitches still counted in my total, I'm at 26.79% on Quaker Flag. The deal I've made with Kim is that when I finish this flag, I will start One Nation. Atlas may not like that, but that's the plan. And when Atlas gets cranky, I just tell him stop it, that I'm in charge. It is what it is. Okay. So the other piece that I really pushed last week, and this did get a majority of my attention, because it was close to being finished and I just wanted it done. I believe I started this whip in 2020. I probably could go back and see, but I never kept track of when in my planner or whatever, in my list of whips, I didn't keep track of when I started things. And that's okay. But I started this, I want to say in 2020. It may have been 2021. Needless to say, it has been hanging around for far, far too long for the size piece it is. The problem was I wasn't finding joy in that center square. And then finally I gave myself permission to just not stitch the center. I didn't like the little houses. They didn't go with the quote and who said the quote. Had the quote been from Abe Lincoln, it 100% would have matched, right? The quote is from JFK. Log cabins make no sense. No sense. So, this is just done on a piece of 14 count oatmeal Aida. I know. Listen, there is nothing wrong with 14 count Aida. Absolutely nothing wrong with it, 14 count Aida. And if you stitch on 14 count Aida, I'm going to cheer for you every day of the week too. Because there are days where I love me some 14 count Aida. So, this is Ask Not by the Resting Eagle. Again, I took out the center square. And I did a conversion from I believe it's charted with Weeks Dye Works. I don't know, whatever it's charted, I switched it to DMC. So I had run out of one of the pink threads to do this here. I had to go get that. I mean, this has just been an ordeal, right? Anyways, it's done, and I love it. I love it this way. I have zero regrets about not stitching the houses. Absolutely zero. So, that finished the last of the whips, the little Jeeps on my Jeep chart. Sadly. Not sadly. This is exciting. So, I have to print off a second page. Who would have thought? I was worried that I was not going to hit 54, which was here when I started this. I was terrified that I wasn't going to hit 54. We've hit 64 so far. 64 projects done and over. So I cannot wait to print out the second sheet and get going and seeing how fast we can fill that one up. I think that one might be a little bit slower just because of everything that we're working on bigger projects. So Atlas has me, what we've decided to do is my new whip rotation. My main focus is right now, I limit it to 4 projects. So we're going to focus on Quaker Flag, Pandemic. I need to start the picture of Ed's mom. So I think I have the fabric. I'm 99% sure I just need to go pull the fabric because I have all the floss for it. And then a non-crochet project is finishing Bella's, the mushroom guy, crocheting him. And we picked that one because, one, it wasn't a crochet project. It wasn't a cross stitch project. It was totally something different. But one, the yarn takes up the bag of yarn for him. It takes up a lot of space, as does the box of stuffing for this thing. And knowing now how big that head is and how much stuffing it took, I'm actually going to guess that it's going to take up a bulk of, if not the whole box of stuffing. So, those are my 4 current whips. Now we'll sprinkle in there little projects like pulling out Betsy Ross, right? I have to still pick a piece that's my fake idol piece. I was stitching the Snow Miser, Heat Miser. I finished Heat Miser. I have to restitch Snow Miser. We all know how my Dr. Buttheads and got him. So I have to restitch him, but I have to pull I have a piece of fabric for it. I have to pull the threads for it because I had put those back in my stash. But I have to pick a fake project, just a fake ornament. Like, that's not my real ornament, I guess. So what is the opposite of a Snow Miser? Because it's not Heat Miser, because I already finished Heat Miser. So I was thinking about, I don't know, I'm going to pull out a small whip, or maybe, I don't know, or should I pull out periodic table and throw some stitches into the periodic table? I think that's what I'm going to do. I think the opposite of a small ornament is a ginormous project, right? I think that makes sense. And so that's what we're going to do. That will be my rationalization there. So, which means that next week you'll see the periodic table, which we haven't seen in a while. So that'll be good. So, not that it's very exciting to see because it's way too big to hold up on this screen. So that's where we're at. Other than that, yeah, we're just going to keep plugging along on things. I have another bag of stuff to get mailed out to people, which is totally exciting. I am enjoying watching things unfold, and some of the progress that is going on. So yeah, I do want to pull out some quilting. I don't have much left to do to get the quilt top done and ready to go to the quilters for Kay's quilt. Paul's is a little bit more work just because it's a lot of hand applique. But it's important to me that he has that sooner than later. So I think that might be my sprinkle in project. But a lot of that is I've got to print off. The biggest thing on that one is I've just got to print off the letters and be able to trace them to do the heat and bond so I can hand applique them. I enjoy handwork, obviously, so doing hand applique isn't a big deal to me. So yeah, so that's where we're at, y'all. So remember, you are smart and you are beautiful. You are brave and strong, and you are loved. You are needed, and you are wanted, and mostly, you matter. So with that, let me know if there's anything I can do for you, and we will talk Wednesday night, Thursday for the Survivor update, and go from there. If not, see you next week on my regular floss tube. Bye, y'all.